I'm Aaron Opfell, founder and owner of SearcherMagnet, a boutique digital marketing agency. I'm here on the internet answering your questions about internet marketing. If you have a question, email to question@searchermag.net. I will answer it. Today's question comes to us from Anonymous. Anonymous asks, there are infinite variations of possible customer search terms. How does this affect SEO strategy? Great question. Very sophisticated question, I might add. It's true. People, search is a uniquely human thing. We're looking for things. We're not, worried about how nobody's judging our queries, right? They're really primordial or caveman. Ooh, want pizza, So when we search for things, Rose is Rose by any other name. We might use different variants, right? Lawyer or law firm or attorney or attorneys, right? So all mean basically the same thing. We might call things different things, like running with the legal thing for a second. Oh, car accident or auto accident. We describe it differently. One thing's for certain, though, all these terms, they have a limit. There's a cloud of keywords to describe your customer journey, right, from initial research to buying decision. And along that path, there are only so many possible variations or misspellings or synonyms that people really can have. As an English major, I always found it difficult to understand why people didn't understand it, and it finally clicked for me when I realized that in the same way I'm not a strictly pure math person. I don't enjoy calculus, that people don't really get how English works, and especially if it's not the first language, right? English is a very difficult language. Ask anyone. English is by far the most difficult language to learn for not a native speaker, right? But in our language, there are only so many synonyms. If you've ever picked up a thesaurus, you'll understand this. Like any given word, can only really have 20 to 30 synonyms. And once, if you've ever tried to play Scrabble, or I learned this when I was coming up with domain names, right? There's only so many synonyms that are actually worth a crap, right? That are anywhere relevant to the original term. So while it might seem unlimited, it's actually quite finite. There's only so many actual synonyms, down to the problem plurals and variants. Well, AdWords and Google has really figured this out over time. No longer does Google really care about specific wording, like an S on the end, like the plural, or slight misspellings. If you type in PZZA, you're going to get results for pizza. Try it for yourself. It doesn't matter. It's actually kind of a fun game to see how badly you can mess up the query and see if Google actually knows what you're talking about. This is something called the autocomplete effect, and it allows us to really just spout barf gibberish at Google, and Google seems to know exactly what we're talking about. If you've ever used Google while drunk or under the influence, Google's pretty good at looking at a pool of it's kind of like a lineup. You look at 100 searches, and one is slightly out of the slightly taller, misshapen, but it's still the same thing. So sorry to explain so long, but as you can see, Google doesn't really care about misspellings or variants, because it really knows what's up. And then there's a finite amount of terms. Now the final problem is, like, which of those terms are actually relevant. And we'll cover in another video, like AIDA, attention, interest, decision, action. Obviously, there's a temperature or a spectrum of how interested or active this person is. They start out at just like barely have the attention, and then down here is the cache where they're making the decision. So they move along the spectrum, right? And they're going to search for different things as they go. At the top, they start out really broad, like what is topic, what is pizza, and then maybe as they're interested, difference between deep dish and Chicago style pizza, right? And then as they keep getting further down to decision and action, then they're going to be searching for like pizza near me, and then finally pizza coupon, right? So that's kind of the spectrum, search spectrum. But again, there's a finite amount of stuff here. You've got high interest to low interest, and then you've got synonyms. So though it may appear unlimited, it's not. And there's actually a finite amount of variations that you can target and play around with. Thanks very much.